Hey my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome to another episode of Fiona's Coffee Talks. And as always, I'd like to start off every day with a fresh, hot, black cup of coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to. Of course, in my favorite coffee mug. Coffee without Kahlua. So, today it is Tuesday, March 2nd, and tomorrow, March 3rd, it's my birthday! Yay! Oh my God, I'm so excited. So, lately I've been doing these videos where I'm like telling specific stories about specific holidays, Valentine's, Mardi Gras. So this is my birthday edition. So of course I'm going to tell a fabulous birthday story. But before I even do that, let me just tell you the history of my birthday, which has been since the age of 22 that I graduated college and moved out of my parents' house. Year after year, I don't let a year go by without throwing a party for myself. So, like, I remember the first few years from like 87 till probably like mid-90s, I would have it at like various different locations, bars, restaurants, this, that. But then when I moved into this building, which this February was 25 years that I've been in this building on and off, third apartment, and of course my favorite apartment. But once I moved here, then every year I would throw parties in my apartment. And I'd always have like 30, 40, 50 people. And they were really quite wonderful because, you know, for me it was sort of like, this is your life. Because I'd have all of my friends, you know, people that I knew from like grammar school or like from the neighborhood or high school or college. And then, you know, my close circle of friends that I met, you know, once I moved out and in my adult life. So even if it was only that once a year, because you know how life is, you have friends and even though you're in contact, you don't necessarily see each other every minute. So at least I knew that that one day a year, I would be able to see, you know, the people that were really close to me. So it was always quite magical for me. And I did that for many years. But then there was one point where then I started doing it at this bar on the Upper East Side, around Midtown. It was called, originally it was OW, then Oscar, it was Oscar Wilde first, then OW, then it became Evolve Bar on 58th and 2nd. So for numerous years I did it there, and they would allow me to like bring food, and it was like free to get in. I'd always do it on a Monday night, and it would be happy hour prices. It was quite magical. In recent years, in the last 4 years, I've been using a different establishment on 14th and 2nd called Nowhere Bar. And I would always have it on the Saturday of my birthday weekend and free to get in. And I would just, you know, I'm going to be there, show up, let's drink, let's have fun. So I've done that the last 4 years, up to and including a year ago, right before this pandemic hit. I had it there Saturday, February 29th. So here it is a year later, and I'm like, oh, it's my birthday. What am I going to do? And I was like, fuck. I mean, really, what can I do? And, you know, I was speaking to my therapist, who I see, every Friday at 4 p.m., and he asked me, what are you going to do for your birthday? And there was a brief moment there where I felt a little like, I don't know if sad is the right word, but it all kind of seemed, anticlimactic because I'm so used to always like, you know, throwing something. And I'm like, well, shit, I really can't throw anything. But then it occurred to me, I was like, well, wait a minute. This is my party. Like being here with you guys is good enough for me. I mean, it's an amazing celebration for me. And that's why I love having this channel, because it, especially during these times that we've been, you know, in this pandemic and I've not been going out or doing much of anything, I at least have you guys. So if I have not said this enough, let me say that, you know, I appreciate that you guys are here and you guys do me a lot of good without, you know, if you realize it or not. But I've said before how these videos are to a certain degree therapeutic because I love being here with you guys. And so to me, all of a sudden, I was like, no, this is probably going to be like the best birthday for me because I'm here with you guys. So for that, I cannot thank you enough. And then I figure what I might do tomorrow, which is my actual birthday, is I'm going to go into town and just kind of like walk around, maybe like, you know, treat myself to a meal Like just like that, because it seems like, when I go into the city these days, it's always because I have things to do. And I'm like, I miss the days of like just going into town and just to be in Manhattan and walk around. So that's going to be my plan tomorrow. Anywho, I digress. So the story that I'm going to tell is, like I said, every year I would always throw a party, but there was one particular year, it was 2009, and I had thrown myself a party. That was my 44th birthday party, and I think that was the first party that I threw at Evolve Bar. But then as a gift for myself, I decided, you know what, I'm going to treat myself for a weekend getaway. So I ended up going to this place in Orlando called the Parliament House. For all of you crazy hoes that know about the Parliament House, it was actually quite fabulous. It had been around for 45 years, and notice I said that in the past tense because unfortunately this past November 2nd, 2020, it closed down, which is like, wow, that's kind of like fucked up, because that was like, if you went to Orlando, that was like, the place to go. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I'm sure like, even if you've never been there, it's like everyone, if you're gay at least, has heard of it. Like I always knew of it, but I ended up that particular weekend, was the weekend after I threw my party. I jumped on a plane Friday, and I literally was there for 3 nights. I was there Friday to Monday. Now, if you can envision this place, it literally is like going to a compound, because it was like this huge space. And I remember like I got off the plane, jumped into car service, went there, I checked in, and then immediately went to like the local liquor store that was like right down the block. And there was also like a convenience store. And I got provisions for my room, vodka, mixers, beer, all of that shit. And then went back to my room, and of course, it was, it's always hot in Florida, at least it was back then. And it was, I don't remember if it was technically clothing optional, although even if it wasn't, I probably made a clothing optional, because I seem to recall that I was naked a lot. Not necessarily only in my room, but by the pool as well. But this compound had everything. So like, I literally got there Friday and I never left the premises other than initially to go get the provisions for my room, because everything was there. They had the pool there. And so like every day I laid out. And then what was so amazing about that, they would have music playing, and it would be all of this like classic 70s disco and freestyle, which is like so me, because, let's face it, honey, I'm going to be 56 tomorrow. So that was my genre of music that I loved. So I just remember like being in heaven, and just like song after song, I was like, oh my God. It was almost like when I did my video on Studio 54 last week, and when I was watching that documentary, part of the beauty for me with that was hearing the songs that when they were showing the footage. So I was in heaven. So the entire weekend I'm there. And, if you're staying at the premises, it's great, because then you could, I go back and forth, go to my room, get a drink, go back, lay out by the pool. And within the premises itself, there was something like 3 or 4 different bars, like, and like one was a disco, one was, I think, like maybe like a country western, but I might be remembering that incorrectly. But there were all of these different types of like bars, discos. So you didn't really even have to leave. You could just like be right there. And then of course a few like couple of restaurants as well. So like if you decided to eat, you didn't have to go anywhere. So that's why it was really just wonderful, because everything was like self-contained in this space. And of course this was, this was 2009. And so like, that was before like Grindr, Scruff, all of that shit. I mean, the internet was around, so yeah, you could like meet guys online and like hook up. But like being in a place like that, I mean, I wasn't going to be sitting in my room on my computer. And let's keep it real, we all know that I've never been one to ignore that part of me. So yes, I did have a lot of fun, but you met people even just being there. Like you didn't even really have to go online, because all you had to do was like, don't be on your computer and just look around, and there's bitches there for you to meet and have fun with. So it was really just this kind, for me, it was this magical weekend. Yeah, and honey, I have stories of like what I did specifically, which it's in my book, page 322 to 323. For those of you who have the book and want to get a refresher thing on what I did that weekend, and so I kind of spelled out there, but that's not what this video is about. It's about the establishment itself, and for me it was just great that it was the 1 year that I did something different than what I normally did. That's time when I was thinking about this video, I was like, wow, well, I have a lot of different stories I can tell. And I said, oh, Parliament House. And also because like to me, it's kind of sad. I mean, it's a sign of the times. Like I said, they just closed this past November. And I don't know if logistically it was maybe business wasn't good or something to do with like them not being able to like renew something or permits or this or that. When I looked it up right before doing this, it says that the owners are trying to find a different location to like build it up again. And I think they had wanted to renovate that one, but whatever like permits that they needed or whatever they couldn't get. Because, you know, it's interesting. I do remember that when I was there, which was, you know, not that long ago, 11 years ago. I remember that. I remember thinking to myself, you know, they could kind of renovate this place. But honey, I remember like, it was such an inexpensive weekend. Like the flight was like $200, the round trip. The 3 nights were like $60 a night. So with the taxes, it was like $200. And then I remember I didn't eat much, but I went to the store and, you know, got all of my booze and shit. And that was like $100 later. So a $500 weekend from Friday to Monday to celebrate my birthday and have fun and carry on and lay out by the pool and listen to great music and meet people. It was exactly what I wanted. So the fact that it's no longer around, I'm like, oh. But you know what? They say nothing lasts forever. And it's unfortunate that something like that was so, I think, incredible and was around for 45 years, like I said, to suddenly not be around anymore. Kind of sad, but sign of the times is a sign of the times. But anyway, that's my story. So for those of you who did make it to Parliament House while it was around, leave some comments. Let me know like what you thought. Did you have fun? Did you carry on? Did you love it? Did you think, look at this shithole? Because, you know, could have used the facelift, but I loved it. And I'm fortunate that even though I was only there the one time, at least I was able to experience it. So anywho, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I need to give 2 shout outs. In case you're wondering, this beautiful shirt that I have, a subscriber of mine who has become a friend, Cheryl, hey Cheryl, sent me this and I just received it a couple of days ago as like part of my birthday gift because she knew my birthday was coming up. And Juicy Couture, Queen, who knew? Then of course I got my little flashing tiara. And then also my friend Mike, hey Cheesecake Mike, he was so gracious and sent me a little gift in the mail as well. So thank you to the 2 of you, and you know, and thank you to all of you actually for being here with me and celebrating my birthday with me. You know, so what? Big fucking deal. I'm not throwing a party at a club or at a bar. This is my party. And rest assured, when the timing is such that one can actually, you know, go to bars and have things like that, I absolutely am going to throw a belated birthday social gathering. And of course, I will let everyone know. And whenever I do these parties, it's open to everyone. Just show up, let's drink, let's have fun. And it will just, you know, be quite amazing to do that. So that's the scoop. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I had to say, and I look forward to seeing everyone in person sooner than later. Alrighty guys, love you, bye.